Hello and welcome back to Haiku tutorial. In this video we will talk about timer widgets. So first is introduction, and then some basic usage, and finally I will give an example of how to use a timer. So first, what is a timer widget? A timer widget executes an event or animation at specified time intervals. An execution with small enough intervals can be seen as continuous. And later you will see in the timer's property panel, the users can set how many times and how often the timer ticks. And moving on to the basic usage. The first scenario is where we use timers to delay an action so that it does not get done at the exact moment an event is triggered. Let's go to the editor and I will show you an example of this. To demonstrate the delayed event by timer, I will set 2 pages and control the turning page effect with a timer. So first add 2 pages and give this one a background of red and this one a background of green. And add a button on this page 1. And later I would like to click on this button and wait 2 seconds before the page is turned. Add an event to this button. And next we'll need a timer as the target. So go to page 1 and add a timer. You can find the timer in this section. Go back to the event and directly select this timer. And the action will be play. So when the button is clicked, let the timer start to play. And next we will set the properties of this timer 1. Because what it's supposed to do is to turn a page, so it will be repeated only once. And by default it is unlimited times. Set it to 1. And for the interval, the default is 1 tick. So if you use the default value, the outcome would be quite different depending on your device's frame rate. And if you set a number for it, the unit will be in seconds. And in this case, I will let it wait 2 seconds before the page is turned. And the next step is to add an event to this timer. A timer can only have one trigger, which is called tick. So every time it is ticked, we will select the stage and perform go to page. So I will go to page 2. And let's go to preview to see the outcome. When I click this button, it waits for 2 seconds before turning the page. And this is basically how we use timers for delayed events. Let me go through the workflow again. So first I add an event to the button and set the timer to play. And the timer is set to repeat once and the interval is 2 seconds. So that when the button is clicked, the timer waits for 2 seconds before it ticks once. And then for the timer's event, when it ticks, it goes to the next step, which in this case is to turn a page. Another function of timer widgets is to perform or execute an event or action at regular intervals. And for events or actions that are to be performed at fixed time intervals, timers are easier to use than timeline widgets, which will be discussed in another video. And for example, to turn a page every 3 seconds. This can be done with a timer. Let's add a few more pages to demonstrate timers for repeated actions at fixed time intervals. So add a few more pages and give them each a different color. This one And this time I will need to make some changes to the timer's event. For now, every time it ticks, it will turn to page 2, and this will be a waste of effort. So I'm going to change it to turn to next page. And go to the timer's property panel. Because we have 4 pages, we will need to turn the page 3 times. So repeat 3 times. Now let's go to the preview to see the effects. Click this button and wait 2 seconds. It changes to page 2. But after we waited 2 more seconds, it stops at page 2. So why is this happening? This is because we placed the timer under page 1, and after the stage turns to page 2, the children of page 1 will stop working. So the solution would be to put the timer under this stage, so that it will not expire when the page is turned. So let's go back to preview again. One and 2. Now the timer has realized performing action at set time intervals. We can also set the timer to trigger at every tick. By setting the interval to default, the timer will trigger according to the device's refresh rates. And when actions are performed at these refresh rates, it will seem continuous to bare eyes. So this feature is usually used for animations. I will skip the example for this one and save it for the videos on animations. And next I will make an exemplar application using timers. For today's application, we are going to make a minigame like this, a stopwatch for 1 second. When I press and hold this button, the time starts accumulating, and it displays a result according to my accuracy. I'm going to create a new project for a 1 second stopwatch, and I suppose we can use absolute positioning for this simple page. I think it will simplify the work for us. The first thing still is to add a page. And on this page will be pretty simple. We'll need a line for the hint and result. So this will be press and hold for 1 sec. And next we will have a display for the time. And assume this is 1.2 seconds. And next we will need a button. Drag and draw one. And how do we make it into a circle? A round. We can first set its width and height to make it a square. Say for example 100. And go to the radius border, set it to half its height and width, which is 50 pixels. This will make it a circle. Also, you can use 50% so that it will automatically calculate what is the half of the height and width. Let's set these widgets to approximately the middle of this page. And let them align to X at 187. Go to the middle. And change this button to, say, hold. Next, because we have this changing time display, we'll have a number to store. For that, we will need a numeric variable. Let's just call it time. Now the preparation is done and we can move on to the events. Add the timer and complete the workflow for this button. So when it is clicked, actually we shouldn't use this click, and instead we should use touch start, and the target will be the timer, and have it start to play. And what will it do when the timer is asked to play? So add an event to the timer, and when it ticks, we are going to set a value for this numeric variable. So set value. And inside the drop-down list for timers, it has these properties relevant to timer. So we have count, interval, and duration. Here we'll need this duration. So the duration is the amount of time from timer's start to play point till now. And for the next section, we are going to set the variable's value to this text. Select in the object tree the times value. We can go to preview to check the result. So when I press it and hold, it starts to increase the time. And now we'll need it to stop. So we'll need another event for this button. When the touch ends, and let the timer reset. And now we have hold and stop. And when I press again, it starts again from 0. Now I've got the change in time. The next step is to set different results according to this time. The results display is going to show up when the touch ends, so we're going to add the workflow here, and we will need some conditions for it. Say add a condition, and if the times value is smaller than, let's simplify this logic a bit. Say the time value is less than 0.8 second. In this case, we will set the text box's value to quote, "What's the rush?" And for the other conditions, I can copy this one and paste. Change this to else. I'm using the else here because this condition and the rests will be mutually exclusive. And when this one is larger than 0.8 seconds and smaller than 1.2 seconds, and in this case it will be considered quite accurate, so splendid. And for the other case, paste another one, else. For this else branch we won't need any extra conditions, so cross it out. And this will be the greater than 1.2 case. Perhaps that's too much.
And here I find that I've given a value to the wrong target. Should be this one. Sorry.
Now we can go to preview, and we can set this 1.2 seconds to originally press to start. Okay. Let's try to stop at 1 second. That was close. And try again. That's too short. And longer than 1.2 seconds, and that is too much. And to complete the logic, I'll need to set this line back again to this hint when I press again this hold button to start a new game. So go to this press button event, and when the touch start, I will set this press to start to copy this value, put them in quotes. Also, I can attach a unit to the time display by plus sign and quote S. Run target again for the text for a new game. So this one should be this text. Okay, now it renews the hints as expected. And to recap, today we used a timer, which is the core of this application. For a timer, you can get in its drop-down list the count, interval, and duration. And because the timer is by default triggered every tick, we can get the time's duration in real time. After we've got this duration, we've set 3 logical branches for different time results. That is all for today's video, and thank you very much for watching.